The physics of active electronics. Today we're zooming in to the physics that makes active electronics possible. We'll compare conductors, insulators, and semiconductors using energy bands instead of magic. We're also going to peek at the quantum rules that drive a multi-billion-dollar industry. Think of the blue dots as electrons we can sometimes set free. Think of the red circles as electron holes, which act like positive charge carriers. Think of the yellow energy as outside energy, like heat or light that can kick carriers into motion. Electrons occupy discrete quantum states. Electrons are not free to choose any energy they want. They live in strict shells and subshells, like assigned rows of seats in an amphitheater. Between those shells are no seat zones, where electrons simply cannot exist. That gap idea matters because the same concept shows up later as an energy band gap in solids. So our first big takeaway is this. Electrons move in allowed levels, separated by forbidden gaps. Atomic bonds create continuous energy bands. When atoms bond into a solid, their outer valence subshells overlap. A single-lane road becomes a multi-lane highway as many atoms pack together. That overlap creates a wide band of allowed energy states instead of a few isolated ones. The lower group becomes the valence band, where electrons normally live. The upper group becomes the conduction band, where electrons can move more freely through the material. So solids turn discrete levels into bands, and that's where conductivity starts. The presence of an energy gap dictates conductivity. In a conductor, there are available energy states that stretch across the material. Electrons can drift because there are open seats nearby for them to move into. In an insulator, electrons are locked into bonding states that hold atoms together. A large energy gap blocks electrons from reaching the conduction band. Without a huge external energy boost, electrons cannot cross that gap, so current does not flow. The size of the gap is a big part of why copper conducts and glass insulates. Narrow band gaps unlock active control. Semiconductors like silicon sit right in the middle between conductors and insulators. At room temperature, silicon is naturally pretty insulating because most electrons are still stuck in the valence band. A modest energy boost from light or heat can promote an electron across the narrow band gap. When that happens, you get a free electron in the conduction band. You also leave behind a hole in the valence band, and that hole can move too. That's the magic of semiconductors. We can control conductivity instead of just having always on or always off. Charge carriers move like water, and air applying voltage tilts the energy bands, like tipping a ramp. Electrons fall downhill toward lower energy states, like water droplets seeking the low point. Holes behave like bubbles in water and appear to float uphill in the opposite direction. This is why electron flow and conventional current can feel like they disagree, even though both descriptions work. Free electrons also move much faster than holes, which affects how devices behave at higher speeds. Imperfections make silicon useful. Pure intrinsic silicon has a completely filled valence band, so there are very few free carriers. That means perfect silicon is not very useful for making controllable devices. We intentionally mix in tiny amounts of specific impurities, and that process is called doping. Doping engineers a material where free electrons or holes naturally exist at room temperature. So the weird truth is, we make silicon useful by carefully contaminating it. Tailoring the dominant charge carrier P-type material is made by doping silicon with trivalent elements. That creates acceptor sites that leave behind extra holes, so holes become the majority carriers. N-type material is made by doping silicon with pentavalent elements. That creates donor sites that contribute extra free electrons, so electrons become the majority carriers. The key idea is that doping lets us choose whether holes dominate or electrons dominate. That choice is the foundation for diodes, transistors, and basically everything modern. The exact moment P meets N, when P-type and N-type materials are joined, electrons on the N side start out at higher energy. Those electrons immediately seek lower energy spaces across the junction. They cross into the P side and recombine with available holes. That sudden diffusion creates a temporary, massive electrical imbalance near the boundary. This is the birth of the junction behavior that makes diodes one-way devices, establishing an internal electric field. As electrons and holes recombine near the junction, they leave behind fixed charged ions in the crystal. That charge imbalance builds until it creates an internal electric field. That internal field repels further electron diffusion and stops the free mixing. The result is a stable insulating border zone called the depletion region. The Fermi levels on both sides equalize like connected bodies of water, leveling out. So the junction itself creates a built-in barrier that devices can push against or reinforce, turning light into power. A solar cell is basically a large P-type and N-type junction designed to harvest light. When a photon hits the depletion region, it can generate an electron-hole pair. The internal electric field immediately pulls them apart before they recombine. That separation forces current through an external circuit and into a load, like the light bulb shown. A silicon junction naturally produces around 0.7 volts in this simplified model. Real solar panels connect many cells in series to build a useful output voltage, controlling the flow of electricity. The diode in forward bias, the applied voltage opposes the internal electric field. The depletion region collapses, and carriers cross the junction much more easily. Current flows freely in the forward direction once the barrier is reduced. In reverse bias, the applied voltage reinforces the internal electric field. The depletion region widens, and it blocks current much more strongly. A diode is basically an electrical check valve built from a junction barrier you can squeeze or stretch. The math behind forward bias current. The important takeaway here is that diode current grows exponentially, not linearly like Ohm's law. A small increase in applied voltage can cause a huge increase in current. Temperature matters because the junction behavior depends on thermal energy inside the material. The saturation current term is basically the tiny baseline current set by the junction and its material properties. The rest of the relationship is an exponential sensitivity to applied voltage and temperature, which is why diodes feel so non-resistor-like. The physical reality of fabrication. This is the wild part. Microchips start life as ordinary quartz rock. Industry chemically refines that into ultra-pure silicon and grows a monocrystalline silicon boule. That boule is sliced into polished wafers, commonly 300mm wafers. The purity requirement is extreme, about 99.99999% pure. The maximum impurity tolerance shown here is 0.01 parts per billion, which is basically one speck ruins your day. The point is simple. To control subatomic charge carriers, the starting material must be unbelievably clean. Extreme purity and microscopic precision. Humans never touch the wafers because dust and skin cells are gigantic contaminants at this scale. Fabrication plants are purged with ultra-pure air to keep particles out of the process. Ion implantation tools fire specific dopants into silicon to build precise regions of P-type and N-type material. That process creates billions of microscopic junctions on a single chip. From tiny quantum rules to global computing, everything depends on precise manipulation of invisible energy bands. A fun historical note is that the first working transistor was demonstrated at Bell Labs in 1947, and this bandgap and junction physics is the reason it worked. Thanks to Tony Kupalt and the open source community for making high-quality technical education accessible to everyone.